Hey guys, this is Zonofear here, bringing you another PC gameplay commentary video. And what I want to do today is I want to talk about PC gaming in general, rather than sort of Battlefield specific commentary. Towards the end of last year, just before Battlefield 3 released, I decided that I would build my own PC so that I could play Battlefield 3 on PC rather than play it on console. And that was because, like the rest of you, we'd all saw the trailers of Battlefield 3 and it looked fantastic. So I decided to take the plunge back into PC gaming from console gaming so that I could take advantage of the PC's extra horsepower. I researched all my parts, all the components that I wanted to use, and actually bought them and put it all together, and it's been a really satisfying experience. Building a PC can seem quite intimidating, where from what I've learnt and from what I've actually done from hands-on experience, it's not. There really isn't an awful lot that you can do wrong when you're building a PC, because certain things only fit in certain places. The memory can only go in one place, the processor can only go in one place, and as long as you take your time to research the components you're buying and you take it steady if it's your first build, then it really is quite easy. And best of all, when you eventually have it all put together, when you press the power button and it starts on the first time, that's an incredibly rewarding experience. Some people go out and they buy pre-built PCs, and while there is nothing wrong if that's what you choose to do, I don't think that I could ever go back to buying a pre-built PC, because having the experience of building one myself, I got better components at a cheaper price than actually going to a computer store and buying a pre-built that, while would have been adequate for what I wanted it to do, would not have been as good as the one that I made myself. If you can put up with having to spend a couple of hours looking around for your components and all your research, and another couple of hours to actually build it yourself, take your time, then I'd highly recommend building your own PC. One of the misconceptions about PC gaming is that it is quite expensive to get into, and while it is more expensive than console gaming, it's not as expensive as some people think. They think, I have to spend £1,000 just for a PC that can play PC games. That's not the case. If you research and shop around, you could build a really good PC for between the £450 to £750 mark, and that is, while it's not as cheap as the consoles that you could buy, between 170 and 300 quid. It is quite cheap, and you get a lot of horsepower for what you can get for that sort of money. A good £550 PC will play all your games that you want to play, and it'll overall be a more satisfying experience because of the higher graphical fidelity that PC gaming allows you to. A lot of graphics cards on the market these days are much stronger than the ones you can find in consoles, and while the consoles are more optimized for gaming in terms of the graphics cards that they have in them, you can buy graphics cards for the PC which have much more horsepower. And if you're playing stuff like Metro 2033 or Battlefield, you'll really notice the difference between the Xbox 360 version, which looks good, and the PC version, which looks absolutely fantastic on a good mid to high range card. On top of that, you'll usually find that your games play at a better frame rate than the console versions. A lot of console versions are locked at about 30 frames a second. There are some exceptions to that. Call of Duty runs at 60 frames a second, but generally a lot of console games play at around 30 frames a second. A couple of months ago I downloaded and played the Mass Effect 3 demo on Xbox 360. I'd played it on PC a couple of days before, but I wanted to see what the 360 version was like, and in comparison to the PC version, it felt slow. It felt like my character was wading through treacle. So that frame rate difference really does have an impact on the feel of a game. It can feel sluggish and slow, or at 30 frames a second, whereas on a PC at 60 frames a second, it can feel quite smooth and responsive. Just coming back to the PC gaming is expensive thing again. What I'd like to point out for those of you who don't know, all the gameplay that I record on my channel is recorded on an Nvidia GeForce 8800 GT, which was a phenomenal card. However, this graphics card is now nearly 5 years old, and it's still playing all these games at these frame rates all this time onwards, while console gaming in terms of hardware remains static. PC gaming graphics cards have moved forward from that, and while my 8800 GT was a fantastic card back in its heyday, it would be, a lot of PC gamers would say it would be quite slow now. So, saying that, this would be a slow graphics card playing all the games that I have in my video today, such as Bad Company 2, Tribes Ascend, which is fantastic by the way, and also Assassin's Creed 2. And not only does it play them well at a higher resolution than their console counterparts, it also plays them smoothly and at more than 30 frames a second. So this just sort of gives you an idea of the sort of technological advancement that, in terms of hardware, that a PC has above a console. This is a 5-year-old graphics card playing the latest games at good frame rates. So when some guy says to you have to spend £300 on a great graphics card to run the game, that's not true. I'm doing all my games on a graphics card that, if you had a look around, you could probably pick up for, I don't know, 30-40 quid off sites like eBay or something like that. So it really doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. Overall, with regards to coming back to the PC, it has been a very enjoyable experience for me, and it's one that I don't regret for a single second. All my games feel so good, and the keyboard and mouse control scheme is fantastic and allows you to be really responsive. Back when I was playing PlanetSide and Counter-Strike 1.5, way back in the day, this is why I played these games. And while I moved on to console games not long afterwards, I kind of always did miss the PC in terms of how the games played, and it feels really good to be playing these games again on a PC that can cope with everything that I throw at it pretty much. I don't think I've had a game that's ran badly so far. And to top it all off, I haven't spent as much money on these PC games than I would have their console counterparts. So while the initial investment is fairly steep, it's a long-term investment, and eventually it comes a point where the games that you're buying are so cheap that it kind of negates the fact that you spent a lot more on actually getting to this point. So rounding it up, if you're thinking about getting into PC gaming, absolutely do. If you need advice or anything else like that, feel free to send me an inbox message or pop a comment below. Okay, I'd like to thank you guys for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Wolf 2, this is Dagger. Yeah, those Russians are falling back. Well done, guys.